So A56, and we are doing our notes on factoring trinomials by factoring out a GCF first. So here's what's different than what we've been working on. Normally when we had our trinomial, the leading coefficient was 1, and we just did reverse FOIL. And we found factors of negative 30 that added up to the middle number. Notice that's not going to happen here. Can we all agree on that? There are no factors of negative 30 that would add up to negative 24. So we're starting off with the idea that anytime we factor, the first thing we want to do is look for a GCF. So we spent some time on that. Look at all three terms. What is my GCF for all three?
4.
I'm going to go with 6. Now, the quickest way to find a GCF is to look at the smallest number and try that first. 6 goes into everything, so we're good. This is going to be a two-step problem. Take out the 6, divide each piece by 6. I'm left with x squared minus 4x minus 5. So that's all I did was a basic GCF problem.
That's it?
Well, now we're going to look at this next piece. So by taking out the GCF, do you see that I'm back to where we've been, where it's the factors of negative 5 that add up to negative 4? So we started with an ax squared plus bx plus c. But since we were able to take out that first value, we ended up with that 1x squared plus bx plus c. And in this trinomial, the factors of c will add up to b. So keep my 6. You don't want to lose that. 2 sets of parentheses. Remember our reverse FOIL. First, outer, inner, and last. So my only options for the first term are x times what? X. What are my options for the last term? Well, I need a negative 5 and a positive 1, or a 5 and a negative 1. I need one of my numbers to be negative, and I'm happy with this pick because negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, and it adds up to negative 4. So minus 5 and plus 1. That is my final answer. Notice my GCF is still out front. I didn't lose it.
Is this, did we do this before?
So we're mixing our two ideas. We did the GCF idea for a while, where we just practiced taking out a GCF. Then we did that factoring by grouping, where it was like the little GCFs. And then we did this part for several days, where we just reversed FOIL. So we're just putting those two ideas together.
Did we do A55?
No.
Oh, okay.
So skip that. Okay, so I'm looking at this problem. 6, 102, and 432. Yeah. The first thing I'm looking at is that 6. Does 6 go into everything?
Yes.
6, okay. So I'm using a calculator, and I'm just typing in to make sure 102 divides by 6 evenly, and 432 divides by 6 evenly. Now, is there anything else I could take out other than the 6? Don't they all have an M? Okay, so I took out a 6M. Now, and you don't have to do this, but for some people this helps them. And you all have your calculators out, right? So I'm left with an M squared. What's 102 divided by 6? I think it's, well, what's 102 divided by 6? 17. Keep 1M. What's 432 divided by 6?
72.
72. Do we agree with this?
Yep.
Okay. So when we did just GCFs, at this point we were done. But now we know that we have this trinomial and it might factor. So I keep the 6M, 2 sets of parentheses. M times M, that's my first term. The first times first comes back. What multiplies to 72? We'll give you some numbers.
9 and something.
9 and
6.
8.
Close to that.
Hey, and guess what? 9 times 8 is 72, but adds up to
17.
17. Guys, are there other options to multiply to 72? Yes. 36 and 2, 12 and...
No.
12 and what? 12 and...
18 and 4.
12 and 6?
18 and
Okay.
4.
18 and 4? Yeah. Taking your word for it. Let me see. Divide
Oh, really?
by...
Is it 9 times?
Yeah. All right. So whenever you look at this, it's going to be a positive 8 and a positive 9. So I didn't need all of these, but if that didn't give me 17, I would keep factoring. You're going to double check that there's nothing else left. Now, both of these started with 3 terms. Look at number 3. It definitely doesn't have 3 terms. Okay. What's the GCF here?
3.
Okay, now I could take out just a 3, but remember when that first number in order is negative, we want to take out that negative 3. When I say in order, I'm talking about standard form, okay? So take out the negative 3k. Now remember, if I'm dividing by negative, what happens to the signs? So this is going to end up being a positive k, and this is going to end up being a positive 4. Okay, so this one was just a GCF. There's nothing left to factor. Do you agree? So sometimes that's all there is. Now, look at number 4. What could I take out of both of them? Well, there's no case. It's not a trinomial. So look, see the x squared plus bx plus c? There's nothing left here to factor because there's not a k squared. All right, what about number 4? Okay, I can take out a 6. Anything else? What about an n squared? Now, okay, so here's the deal. I could take out just a 6n squared. Anytime my first term is negative, I'd want to practice taking that out. So, what's left? This ends up being a positive 1n, or just n, but you can put the 1 there. And then positive 30 divided by negative 6 is negative 5, and then the n's cancel. So that is my final answer. Now, if someone had positive 6n squared and then a negative n plus 5, you're not wrong. I just prefer to take out that negative sign. Okay, go ahead and take a quick second and do number 5. What? So in this one, we only have 2 terms. I'm going to take out not just a 5, but a 5a squared. And then what's left is a minus 8. So if it helps you, show this under each one. Now that's it. There's nothing further to do because of the a here. Okay, look at number 6. There's definitely a 5 in everything. So I'm looking at all 3 terms. So we take out a 5. What else could you take out with it? X squared. All right, what's left?
X squared plus x minus 6.
Yes. Again, if it helps you, show each piece divided by that 5x squared, because then you don't have to keep everything in your head, and you can see, okay, this is why it drops down, this goes, and this divides out. Okay, now here's what's different. In this one, I still have a trinomial left, where over here, all I have is a binomial. This doesn't factor further, but this one does. So I'm going to keep that 5x squared, and then how does this break down? X times x is my first term.
How do we do this part?
Well, this is what we were doing for several days. The factors of negative 6 add up to what? 1. So the first number, x times x, comes back to x squared. The last number multiplies, these two have to multiply to negative 6. So I'm using a 3 and a 2, but if I need a negative 6, one of them has to be negative, correct?
Yeah.
Which one should be negative?
2.
Why?
I don't know. That was actually a complete guess.
Okay.
Right?
So the idea is I need the 3 times negative 2 to multiply to negative 6. But I need them to add up to 1. So the reason that this one should be positive, in case you're paying attention to me, the reason this one should be positive is the fact that when I do my outside and inside, it should add up to 1. Look at number 7. There is a GCF. I'm going to look at the 4. I know 16 divides by 4. 128 should also. So take out your 4. I don't want you to go from here to here. I know some of you might be able to, or you scribble scratch some numbers, but I want to see that GCF taken out. So I'm left with r squared plus 4r minus, I think it's 32, but someone could check me. What's 128 divided by 4? Okay. I just did 100 divided by 4 is 25, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. Okay, now I have my trinomial. R times R is R squared. Negative 32. What are my factors of negative 32? No, not, that's 36.
Negative 4 and
Oh,
8.
yeah.
Okay, now are we happy with the signs? There's other numbers to get me 16, like negative 16 and 2, etc. But negative 4 times 8 multiplies negative 32, and they add up to 4. Now, if you flip the signs, they'd add up to negative 4. So right number, flip the numbers. Or sorry, wrong number, flip the numbers. Wrong sign, just flip your signs. But we got the right sign on the first try. All right, last one. Do they have a GCF? Because if it's a GCF, it's much easier. Well, first of all, they all have a V, right?
Yeah.
If there's a GCF, what is my only option? The smallest number is what? 3. So that's my only option. 3 goes into 33. Does it go into 84? It does. So take out just a 3V. What's left is V squared minus 11V plus what? 28. Okay. So keep your 3V. And now we're breaking down this trinomial. So we're putting together, take out the GCF, and then your trinomial. And that would be V and a V. Now I need factors of positive 28 that add up to negative 11.
4 and 7.
Okay, now 4 times 7 is 28. 4 and 7 adds up to 11. So what do I need to adjust?
Some need to be negative.
Well, actually, you
Both
can't.
of them.
Both of
Both
them.
of them.
Yeah, you can't just make one negative because I need a positive number. So positive, positive, or negative, negative. So see how we got the right number, 11, but we had to flip the sign to get negative 11. So minus 4, minus 7.